Hey guys, I wanted to make another video going over my thoughts on whether you should be running these very high investment strategies. For an example, the ritual strategy where you get a ton of rerolls. I already made a video about this one. And then also you have the breach strategy where you get a lot of rare monsters, or the latest abyss strategy where you buy tablets with like 3 to 4 good modifiers. All of these are gonna be very expensive, like at least 2 3 divines per map. And a lot of people probably wonder whether they should make the investment, whether they should be running these strategies, or if it's fine to just run a low investment strategy. So first I would start with the pros of running these strategies. First of all, these maps can feel very rewarding because you usually get way more loot per map. So for an example, if you have the breach strategy, you get at least like 5 to 6 divines usually per map. Also with the ritual strategy, you usually get a few good omens every map with abyss as well. So they do feel very rewarding. But of course, since the investment is higher, the amount of divines you end up with doesn't have to be higher just because it feels that way. Secondly, if you do have a very strong build, these strategies can still challenge your build. So the late game can get a bit boring if your build is very strong. If you don't fully juice your maps, then everything can be kind of a pushover. So if you are at this point, then it can be a good idea to run these very high investment strategies. Now let's get to the cons. So first of all these strategies usually require way more setup. So you end up with less maps per hour. You usually need delirium on your maps, you need 200% delirium. You also only want to run these strategies on city areas, and you also spend a lot of time looking for these expensive tablets that you have to buy, because usually like the strategies you can never self-sustain the tablets, so you always have to rebuy them. Also, unless your build is really insane, the maps are gonna be a lot slower, because 200% delirium, like they nerfed it a bit, but still the mobs are gonna be a lot tankier, which will make your map slower, of course. And this also means that in the end you end up with less maps per hour. And finally, I think one very important point is that if you do die on these high investment strategies, it feels very bad, because you immediately lose a few divines because every map is so expensive. And of course, since these strategies are usually so much more challenging, it is also more likely that you do actually die. So yeah, this is also something that you should keep in mind. Finally, I wanted to mention some strategies that are still very profitable in my eyes, with very low investment. First of all, ritual. You can run ritual with just some basic ritual tablets that give you, for an example, increased cost of rerolling favors or higher chance for omens. These are good modifiers. And then one of the unique ritual tablets, and then you end up with like maybe 50 60 exalts investment per map. So pretty low investment. Also abyss, you can still run it with pretty much any abyss tablets. Just throw in any 3 or 4 abyss tablets. And finally, boss rushing is also still very profitable. So you just go through the maps as fast as possible. You can either run them delirious, or there's also a new strategy, maybe you have seen it, where you add irradiated tablets and you farm tablets, and then also you kill all the special bosses on the way for a chance to get like Rakiadas and these very expensive lineage support gems. So this is still a very profitable strategy, even now. So yeah, these are my opinions. I do believe that you can still make pretty much as many divines per hour running any of the lower investment strategies as you can with the very high investment strategies. So you don't have to feel bad if your build is just not able to clear areas with 200% delirium. So just farm whatever you enjoy and have a good one.